Do you not consider it a miscarriage of justice when you have the FBI writing, "We want to get someone to lie"? Is that a miscarriage of justice?
Let's ask you about something the president said moments ago in an interview. He said that Tara Reade is, quote, far more compelling than anything they had with respect to Brett Kavanaugh. What did he mean by that? What is more compelling?
I think it was a grave miscarriage of justice, what happened with Justice Brett Kavanaugh. There's no need for me to bring up some of the salacious, awful, and verifiably false allegations that were made against Justice Kavanaugh. That was an embarrassment for the Democrat Party to have dragged the name of a very respectable man through the mud like that. So I'll leave it at that.
But in the end, he pleaded guilty, and that's...
You hesitated because you know what the answer is. The answer is yes.
A lot of other people to decide.
And I would encourage the media to cover it because I've watched a lot of your networks. I've read a lot of your papers. I've seen a whole lot of scant information about Michael Flynn when there was a whole lot of speculation about Russia, culminating in $40 million of taxpayer money being lost and the complete and total exoneration of President Trump. You had a second question?
The second question I have is, in 2015, shortly after the president said that some Mexican immigrants were rapists and criminals, you said that that language was racist and hateful. Do you still believe that today?
First 4 weeks of the election, I was watching CNN and I was naively believing some of the headlines that I saw on CNN. And
headlines, that's fine. I just want to know if you also personally still believe that.
I'm actually not going to read the headlines. But I would encourage the individual who did that analysis of my past, rather than focusing on me, he really should be focused on some of the very guests CNN chose to have on their network. Jeff?
Kayleigh, in a previous life, before you were press secretary, you worked for the campaign, and you made a comment, I believe on Fox, in which you said President Trump will not allow the coronavirus to come to this country. Given what has happened since then, obviously, would you like to take that back?
Well, first let me note, I was asked a question on Fox Business about the president's travel restrictions. I noted what was the intent behind those travel restrictions, which is we will not see the coronavirus come here, we will not see terrorism come here, referring to an earlier set of travel restrictions. I guess I would turn the question back on the media and ask similar questions. Does Vox want to take back that they proclaim that the coronavirus would not be a deadly pandemic? Does the Washington Post want to take back that they told Americans to get a grip, the flu is bigger than the coronavirus? Does the Washington Post likewise want to take back that our brains are causing us to exaggerate the threat of the coronavirus? Does the New York Times want to take back that fear of the virus may be spreading faster than the virus itself? Does NPR want to take back that the flu was a much bigger threat than the coronavirus? And finally, once again, the Washington Post, would they like to take back that the government should not respond aggressively to the coronavirus? I'll leave you with those questions, and maybe you'll have some answers in a few days. There's no secret that China stopped U.S. investigators from coming in. It was of paramount importance that we got into China in an expedited fashion, and that didn't happen. With respect to the World Health Organization, they have some questions of their own to answer. The WHO appears to have a very clear China bias. On December 31st, Taiwanese officials warning about human-to-human transmission. On January 9th, the WHO repeated China's claim that the virus, quote, does not transmit readily between people. That was quite apparently false. On January 14th, the WHO again repeated China's talking points about no human-to-human transmission. They praised China's leadership on the 22nd of January. On the 23rd, they said, and this is incredible, the pandemic didn't represent a public health emergency of international concern. And
if we say there's a pandemic of coronavirus, we're essentially accepting that every human on the planet will be exposed to that virus. The data does not support that.
Even on February 29th, you had the WHO saying that when the coronavirus was spreading around the world, they chose to put political correctness first by opposing life-saving travel restrictions. The travel restrictions this president put in place, the travel restrictions that Dr. Fauci praised as saving lives. And you have the World Health Organization opposing a measure that saved American lives. That's unacceptable, especially at a time when the U.S. was providing $400 to $500 million. Do you not consider it a miscarriage of justice when you have the FBI writing, "We want to get someone to lie"? Is that a miscarriage of justice? I guess I would turn the question on you and just ask, does it trouble you that the FBI said, we got to get Flynn to lie? Doesn't that trouble you as a journalist? And not only that, as an American citizen. And so this president, when faced with this very tough decision to put a pause on the hottest economy in modern history, said, American lives matter most. And that's what he did. And I can tell you this, the president that got us to the hottest economy in modern history, he's done it once, and he can do it again. Yes.
Thank you for being here. When the president says we did a spectacular job, or when Jared Kushner talks about a great success story, some Americans see it as a lack of empathy. Do you understand the reaction?
What I would say to that is that when he talked about a success story, he was talking about the story of this administration, which is a story of mobilization for the American people, the greatest mobilization of American industry since World War II. The president has swiftly denied all of these allegations that were raised 4 years ago, but the media, leave it to the media to really take an issue about the former vice president and turn it on the president and bring up accusations from 4 years ago that were asked and answered in the form of the vote of the American people.